but there's so few people that actually volunteer for that unless, they're under court order or something. And if they're under court order, they don't seem to, actually do anything. You know what I mean? So
What's this court order business have to do with what you're alluding to? I'm not sure on that. Like you're talking about.
Oh, well, the
Mhm.
volunteer services here in town, if you get community service as part of your sentencing, which a lot of people do in this area, they'll go to the volunteer, they'll make some efforts, and that's about it. There's very few of us that actually go out without that court order to actually help the community, and there's a stark contrast between the effort, is what I was mentioning.
Okay, well that's great. You do that. So clearly an animal lover. You've got one dog and several cats. Is that right?
Yeah, I have 5 cats and a dog. I recently lost a dog that I've had for over 15 years. His name was Sport. He was I keep messing up, a Newfoundland. He was a Newfoundland. He's one of the larger dogs that you can get. And he looks just like a brown bear, literally. And anyway, he actually lived to 19 years old. Now, the breed normally doesn't live until 13 or 14, but he actually lived until he was 19. So I was real happy with providing for him. He provided for me in some very trying times. I actually was stranded up in North Dakota, and between me and him, it was absolute survival. It was below 20, and we were able to snuggle in and survive it. We survived it for 3 or 4 days. So there's a lot of memory.
That's crazy.
Of
Were
a
you
good
like?
friend.
Did you have to live in a ditch for that time, or what was the context exactly?
Literally, yes. What happened was I got stranded in between jobs, and I was waiting for a trucker to get to North Dakota, and I was stranded at a truck stop. I couldn't stay in the truck stop or anything, especially with the dog. I couldn't take him inside or anything like that. What I was able to do was get some tarps and a couple of blankets. I found a mound, like a pitcher's mound, in a field, and covered ourselves with the tarps, making a small tent, and lined it with blankets. And we actually lived there for 3 or 4 days. If it wasn't for him, I would have died.
That's
But
wild.
I've had an adventurous life, whether, I mean, it sounds poor, but it really isn't. I've had a really adventurous life. I've lived at the top of the pay scale to the bottom of the pay scale, depending on what year it is. And I have no regrets for it. The fact is, I'm taken care of. I eat every day, and uh, my animals are happy. I keep them, you know, healthy and clean, and it's fine to me. That's all.
You had a pretty serious health scare a couple months ago too, as I recall.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of going through that. I had a bypass surgery on my leg. From my GI Joe all the way down to my ankle, they replaced my femoral artery, and that was a big scare because I didn't know the circulation had been cut off for well over a couple of hours. And before I was able to get in surgery, so we're actually looking, for dead tissue syndrome and stuff like that. But I wound up surviving. That was about a year ago that happened.
You used to be someone, from what you were telling us, who was really, really fit, I guess, too, really in great shape. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was actually a long distance runner. I was able to actually bench about 300, 350. at one point, and it's been a slow thing. It's a combination of age and being lethargic, a little bit older, but I try to keep myself fit.
That's crazy, man. So,
But at one point, I was a walking wall. I will admit that. I
mm,
just simply, in the last 10 years, I lost the bulk. I don't have the mass anymore, but I still have the strength.
excuse me while I finish off the last of the chips that we got on hand here, folks. So, Alan, what's your take? What's your take on the? I mean, we've got the grand finale coming up here. Hopefully, at a more reasonable hour for most people. Where we are currently, ideally, we would hope to pick up a few more listeners via Europe. So we'll see if people are able to like, comment, share, get our links out there to their European contacts and friends. That would definitely help to go a long way. But this is the first year that you've been a part of this, is that right? Or were you on board with us last year as well?
I was on board right at the end of last year with you, and loaded you up on Home Network about a year ago. Yeah, it was right after surgery and everything that we started working together.
Yeah, that's right. So, and this year, okay, well, what do you got to say about the moving parts, the features that we have? Because we challenge all live streamers to essentially follow suit and to reach out and work on bringing on board Secret Santas, or at least reaching out to and inspiring people to become and play the role of Secret Santa to others, and then from the standpoint of something which, when you hear, most people hear that little catchphrase, they think, oh, they're helping out their friends or co-workers, maybe family, a very sort of inward looking gaze, as it were.
Well, you can't help people from doing that. I mean, people protect what is familiar to them, and when they donate, just like myself, what's familiar to me. I go out to the animal shelters and stuff. There's plenty of volunteer things that you can go out and do, from going door to door to meet elderly people during the holidays. And a lot of times, just simply the act of being there and sharing a cup of coffee and a conversation can do a lot of wonder for people. And there are volunteers out there in this area that do that as well. I don't participate in that. I have for the church. When I've gone to the church and there's a demand for it, I've responded to that. But there are so many different ways that you can express that. It doesn't take cash. It doesn't take donations of food or anything. A lot of times it just simply takes your attention and a little bit of time, and that's it. And it can make all the difference in the world for people.
That's a really great point, and that's what we found here time and again with people that we've connected with, strangers from in many cases.
There's more than monetary wealth. There's some people that are around that they may not even have a dime to push together, but the thing of it is, they turn out to be the most wealthy around. Why? Because they spread that, and it always comes back. It always comes back tenfold. And just like the old song said, you might not get what you want, but you always get what you need. You know what I mean?
The Rolling Stones. Yeah, you can't always get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need. So that's a really That's a really great point. And you're talking about tenfold return. That's a speculated a cosmic law of sorts that people talk about. I don't know if how you could prove that exactly, but there's talk of that.
Real easy. I mean, like I said, there's two different types of wealth. There's a monetary wealth and there's a social wealth. And social wealth is actually control of money. Monetary wealth is your money. So which would be better? Would you rather control all of Elon Musk's money, or would you want to have all that on you? It's better to be in control of assets than it is in order to actually own them.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what
much more with it.
That's what the Rockefellers have said, that they're not famously they could care not or care less for the outright, I guess, the ownership as just control, how, in whatever way that it all kind of plays out, obviously. So I'm not much of a businessman myself, and although I guess most of us are able to more or less get our heads wrapped around the whole principle of control. But I'm trying to get too distracted with ownership and too deeply philosophical, obviously, and as to who owns what when it comes right down to it. So if you know what I mean, because it's like the man can come along at any time and just take anything away from us that they choose to, is what it seems, unfortunately. So, but yeah, once again, self-autonomy is hugely important, obviously, but the pirate's might really is this theme that keeps coming up time and again throughout the course of things, and that, and the fact that we will be promoting, we're gonna the live streaming portion to things will be wrapped up Christmas afternoon, actually, here via the Tokyo and Seoul time zones, and that'll be late night Christmas Eve back in the West. But we're going to be encouraging people in the spirit of Boxing Day, which, if you trace that back a little further, it's what historically has been referred to as St. Stephen's Day, or the feast, I guess, of St. Stephen. And I think it's really important that we make the most of what we have before us. And that's why the whole Secret Santa thing is very the way it's practiced. There's a great shot, by the way, of Stephanie Wilcox we had on last night, and one of her girls. We'll hopefully be seeing a few more of those pictures as they find their way around via the slideshow rotation. But where were we? We were talking the pirate's might. That was one of the issues here, and I guess I got slightly tripped up, as it were. But the pirates might. We might as well finish that point, I suppose. Oh, and St. Stephen's Day, yes, of course. Canvassing, neighborhood drives in during not just Boxing Day itself, but right up until January 15th is what we're challenging people, encouraging, but ultimately challenging them to think about, consider, pursuing and engaging in. Don, maintain, keep your Santa hats on. Wear whatever seasonal festive costume you choose to. Shakers, maracas, tambourines. Go out and either with instruments or simply an a cappella type approach, sing songs, have a gay old time. Can we still say that, or has that been wholly subverted? Of course, it used to, of course, back in the day, it used to simply mean, I guess, happy or great, in the sense of joyous, jovial. Just a gay old time. It was lovely. It was wonderful. So, yeah, as a group, and you basically are out there knocking on doors, canvassing in support of the less fortunate, seeing what you're able to come up with as far as non-perishable foods, clothing, once again, medicine, if there's anything, miscellaneous household items that could find some practical use, of course, or any gifts that have been set aside for the time being for whatever reason, and they're not, maybe they've purchased two of the same item, and they only had meant to pick up one, or there's all kinds of stories that you can come across. And let's not forget work, employment for people like Stephanie Wilcox, who we saw earlier in the slideshow. And I'd like to read her story. Actually, she sent us a great email. And if you're okay with that, Alan, if you'd like to hear that, I guess we might as well. Now's as good a time as any, if you're all right with.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay. So, in fact, what we'll do is bring it up on the, I think we can do this, just fiddle around a little bit and bring it up on the screen share end of things. So, via Harpersville, New York, down here is what she sent to us. As you can see, hi, I'm just 36-year-old mother of 3 special needs and autistic girls, feeling very selfish and vulnerable as I write this. My husband is a disabled veteran who never asks for anything and tries his best to provide us with a good life, but our family is facing financial hardship as we are struggling to keep up with the, and who doesn't identify with this nonsense, of course, right? Constant increase in the cost of living, while wages and just social support remains rather stagnant. So people end up living very much on the fringes, unless you're an illegal immigrant in places like Canada and elsewhere, and then it's Ireland, and you just as many freebies as you could possibly imagine is what it seems. And although he's disabled, he did recently, he had no choice then to take on a job because we couldn't afford our bills. Yeah, I'm not sure what sort of disability if it's PTSD or what have you. So, and this is interesting here too, Alan, because of this dream I had the other night regarding the major roof leak. I don't know if you heard me the other night talk about this when she brought this up. She was on with us here a couple evenings ago. But I had a dream about this major roof leak, not hers necessarily, just that there was this water pouring in, down through the roof and causing all kinds of chaos, and buckets. There were buckets out needing to catch the water, and it was just wild. This one in particular was really bad. So, with both of our vehicles recently breaking down, being faced with a major roof leak, we're struggling now more than ever. I wonder if Bruce Springsteen is listening to tonight's stream. That'd be cool. Someone like him, someone who could step up, or Robert Morningstar, who we've reached out to because of his proximity via Manhattan and just, potential New York connections. This is what it's all, in many ways, not entirely all about, but this is a good example, folks, of how this is done. If you yourself can empathize with Stephanie and her story, and we do have her email address available too for people who are interested. We can share that with you, and you can follow up on this. But just to finish the story, I suppose that the roof replaced or even damaged is properly fixed. He can't afford to do it, so it was patched and the job was left unfinished. Yep. I know this weighs heavily on his heart, husband, because he can't do for us what he once could. I mean, that's any man, real man, of course, and especially someone you can imagine that's spent some time in the military. It's got to be quite challenging. So, but we're doing our best to reach out and to promote their cause, and let them know that once again here we've got their back. We've supported them. I guess it's been 2 years, is what she's told us. So it's the 3rd year in a row. We are going to be pledging $50 in support of her cause, as with the. Hopefully you don't mind me. I think we've talked about this on air, but yourself as well, Alan, the cost of maintaining the network, homenetwork.tv. This is, I guess, where we're going to see hopefully that amount of similar $50 donation going to.
Well, just to give you an update on that, we have over 200,000 viewers a month. And currently we're running about just a little over 40,000 actual members. So we're actually doing pretty good there.
Well, but are they donating to further support and maintain the upkeep? And so, streams are
Not at all. These are just regular users, the same thing as if you were to go to YouTube and find a user at YouTube. But our listenership, just for homenetwork.tv, has been off the hook. We also rebroadcast to streamlife.tube. And streamlife.tube varies month to month. Anywhere from 5 million to 7 million is our peak over on streamlife.tube. So we do have a lot of traffic. We just have to start addressing it and actually cultivating it.
Right. So speaking of which,